Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Notes to Self. My name is Melanie.
And I'm Corey.
And we were both born and raised here in Utah in a polygamous church called the Apostolic United Brethren, or the AUB. I was raised with 4 mothers and 34 brothers and sisters.
My dad had 9 wives and 39 siblings all running around in a house up in Pinestone, Montana.
So we were both born and raised in this polygamous church. My dad is the current prophet of the church. Today we wanted to talk about, they say things come in threes, right? Well, my mom went to the hospital, I went to the hospital, and now we had a dear friend pass. And so we went to the funeral and wanted to talk about her example and her experience. And she is literally the epitome of why I would take notes growing up of which kind of woman did I want to be like, what kind of, and she was definitely a matriarch. We talk about the hierarchy and the order in the polygamous church, as well as even in families. This woman was about as high up there as you could possibly get. She was a queen by every sense of the word. And so I just wanted to do an episode just in remembrance of her, and how, we talk about a lot of people who come in and out of the polygamous church, or we talk about some of our experiences with some of them. And because this woman was so special, I want to point out some of the really good qualities of some of the people that we knew and know in. So I only found out about her passing a couple of days ago. It was accidental. Corey happened to be talking to his mom, who ended up telling Corey that she had passed, and Corey came home, oh, some random lady, and tells me her name. And I burst into tears because this woman has been a special woman to me. I met her when I was 20. And, my mom pointed out, you met her in a time when you needed her and she needed you. And which wasn't very helpful, because that just made me cry even harder. I've been an emotional wreck since my surgery, and I just feel like every little thing starts to tip me off and starts to make me cry, and once I start, then it's really hard to stop. And so I really wanted to do a whole episode just really memorializing and a tribute to her, because of what a queen that she was, what a truly blessed matriarch that she was. And even though there is a lot of damage, and there is a lot of pain, and there is a lot of abuse that happens in these types of communities, they're still very beautiful people. And this woman was definitely one of these people. And so the night I found out she passed, I didn't go to bed till 7 a.m. I laid there in bed and thought about all the things that I wanted to say about her and talk about her. And just to appreciate her for everything that she showed up in my life as. Interrupt me whenever you have something to say. So we went to her viewing last night, and then her funeral today. And now that it's fresh on our mind, I want to talk about it and give her a tribute. So this woman, I've mentioned this in a couple of other of our videos. I did a training when I was 20 years old. I had just had an attempt at choosing out of life. I wanted to choose out of life at that time. And my ex-husband put me in this class that was an accountability training, because I was so broken and needed to get fixed. And I had just barely turned 20 when I met her. And I walked into this class, and out of like 56, something like that, people, 40 something of them were polygamous people. And I turned around and I was like, absolutely not. I will not go to a class like this, that you're supposed to be vulnerable. You're supposed to give you're supposed to tell all your darkest secrets or all of your woes or whatever to these people. I don't trust these people. They're the most judgmental people ever. Well, this woman was there too. And I had heard a rumor about her. And so I specifically did not want to go because of her specifically. I had so much anger and so much hostility in my heart for her. And she has taught me so many good lessons in my life. And this is one of them, is to not judge based on gossip, based on rumor, because her and I became quick friends. But when I walked in and saw her in there, she came to the class with 4 of her children and then their spouses. And so I got to know this family extremely well. And at one point, I remember crying because I did not want to stay in this class. Because if you have been a part of any sort of religious institution, then you understand the judgments of a small community. The judgments, everyone knows everyone else's business. Everyone is all up in everyone else's business. And so I did not want these people to know how broken I was. I had just tried to choose out of life, and I had a 2-year-old and a 10-month-old, and I didn't want them to know my business. So I started crying because I wanted to leave. And my ex-husband said, absolutely not. You're staying. And this wasn't a request. It was a demand. So I came into the class, and at one point I ended up getting hooked up with this woman, and I confronted her about it. And I said, I heard a rumor about you that you hate me. And when I was 15 years old, I had a boyfriend. And the rumor was that she wanted to get up in church and expose us. She wanted him to be kicked out of the church, and she wanted me to be publicly shamed across the pulpit. And when I talked to her about this, I said, I had a deep-seated anger in my heart towards her, like one of those ragings that causes cancer, because I was so angry. And this happened at 15, and then I met her when I was 20. So I carried that deep-seated rage towards this woman for 5 years. And I ended up having an interaction with her during this class and told her about my dislike towards her. And she burst into tears, and she was like, oh, sweetheart, I would never say anything like that. I did hear that rumor, and I do know who said it, and it was not me. I promise you. And we healed so much between the two of us during that moment. And and so we became deep close friends, and we kind of just kept. So this class that we took was a 4-month period of class. And so you spend pretty much almost every day in some sort of communication with everyone in the class. And I just got a deep-seated love for her children that were in the class with us. And I felt like one of her kids for the longest time. Now, she lived a wonderfully full life. Today was more of a celebration of her life than the sadness of her passing. You know, her husband passed quite a few years ago. She was lonely. She was 86 when she passed. She was ready to go home. And but it still hurts my heart because of how wonderful she was to me. When I left the polygamous group, she still loved me no matter what. Now, she is one of the highest levels in the polygamous group in the hierarchy order. And when I found out about her passing, the one thing that just kept going through my mind over and over, and this is what I mulled around all night when I stayed up till 7 a.m. was, I know there's a scripture, and I don't know the exact one, and I'm sure everyone out there will put it in our comments, but there's some scripture that says, when you pass, your children will rise up and call your name blessed. And that just kept going through my mind, because she was one of the people that I kept notes on to myself about. I wanted to be like her because of how kind she was and how loving she was, and how she just made sure that everybody felt loved and everybody felt welcomed. And she had a deep level of her own insecurities. You would never know that just looking at her, because she held herself in such a majestic way, such a queenly way, that you would never know that she felt so insecure about some of her relationships and some of her relationships with some of her sister wives. And it was just one of the things in this class. They talked at her funeral today about her love for a good bargain, and that she would go to JCPenney's and buy these $5 dresses. Well, in this class, I wore garments. I wore them up to my neck, down to my arm, down to my wrist. And one of the projects that we had to work on, I guess you'd call it, or the experiences that we had, I had to find a dress that I could wear. And JCPenney's was one of my favorite. Corey makes fun of me all the time for it, because he's like, that's not high quality, but
I'm like, that's a cool polygamous dress. You should go put it on. You're like, it's a JCPenney's dress.
I'm like, it's a JCPenney's dress. Those are expensive.
Yeah, put that on.
But JCPenney's caters to tall people. And this woman was a lot taller than the average woman. I'm obviously a lot taller than the average woman. I'm 6'2", and I believe she was 5'11". And so I wasn't going to compromise my dress. I had to find a dress that would allow me to interact and participate in the experience, but also allow me to keep my promise and my covenant of wearing my garments. And so I was looking everywhere, trying to find something that that would work. Well, the very last store we went to was JCPenney's, because no one else in the room wanted. There was 4 of us in this particular experience together, and they all did not want to go to JCPenney's. But that's where I ended up finding my dress, and I think it was really cheap. It was like $20 or something. But afterwards, her and I, this matriarch and I, ended up having a conversation, and I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I just thought it was me doing what I was supposed to be doing. And she told me how much she respected the fact that I took my garments so seriously that I almost didn't participate in the activity because I couldn't find something that was accommodating. I had to find a red dress. It had to be a specific color, and it had to be part of the experience. And I remember thinking, wait, you are proud of me and you looked up to me for that? What? It was a little, it shook me, because I had felt so broken, which is why I was in this class, is because I was so broken, and that I needed to choose out of life because of how broken I was. And all of a sudden, this queen, this matriarch, had sat me down and told me how proud she was of me, of my choices that I had made. And we just quickly became friends after that. And we've stayed friends. This was 30 years ago that I took, 31 now, that I took this class. And yeah, she was just amazing. And I'm not going to cry. I told Corey I'm not going to cry, but I did put a tissue here just in case. But the way that she loved me through the years has just been one of the most sacred experiences that I have ever had with another woman. And I'm just so appreciative of her for the love that she gives. And she has raised beautiful children. She's got a beautiful family and a huge posterity, 8 children, 139 grandchildren. I think they said 300 and something great grandchildren.
Yep.
And 3 great grandchildren. And so, but the last time I saw her, I was headed, there is a polygamous little health clinic around here that, yes, I went to, yes, I take my kids to. And I saw her, and I jumped up and ran on, opened up the door and said to her, "Hi, beautiful." Or I said, "Hey, young lady, you sure look beautiful today." And she looked at me and she was confused. And we went inside and sat down, and I said, "How are you doing?" And she's like, "I'm sorry. Do I know you?" And I said to her, I'm like, "It's me. It's Melanie." And she put her hand on my cheek, and she just said, "Oh, my sweet Melanie, how are you?" And that was the last time we connected. That was right before, I want to say that was right before COVID. And then she got sick with COVID and I didn't go see her after that. But I really, I feel like on this channel, we talk a lot about healing. We talk a lot about some of the hard stuff in the religion that we grew up in, but there's so much we're celebrating too. And she is one of those women that is absolutely worth celebrating. And we talk about how hard it would be to be a sister wife. I couldn't do it, but 2 of her sister wives got up and spoke about her today. And that brought tears to my eyes, because one of the last times they went to see her, she loved on them and said, "Oh, my eternal companions." And so there is a lot of beauty that comes from so much darkness and so much hurt. There is a lot of beauty that comes from it too.
Yeah, well, we were both raised in the AUB, and so there's good stuff and there's not. I'm sure it's in every religion, society, stuff like that. And a lot of the ideals that we try to employ in our life with our children, with our children's friends, are stuff that some of these amazing human beings did for us growing up. So there are good people. There are amazing human beings part of part of every religion. So, and that's what we are trying to become, better people every day. That's what they're trying to do also. So,
and she was absolutely the example of what it meant to be a queen, what it meant to be a matriarch, what it meant to unconditionally love the people that are around you. One of the other stories that they told at her funeral today was her house was, she invited so many people. She had so many children that were extensional from her own biological children.
yeah,
And
friends of them.
I felt that way. I felt that way from her. And I felt the genuine love that she would always give me every single time I saw her. When I left the polygamous group, I wasn't sure who would still love me and who wouldn't. And there's a lot of them out there who don't want to have anything to do with us. And, but she was not one of them.
Nope.
And she loved me. I felt like she loved me more because she wanted to love me unconditionally, regardless of what my beliefs were or what her beliefs were. And so this one's been a hard one for me to say goodbye to her. She is one of the most incredible, and I just love her children so much. And you know, what do you say to somebody who had such a rich, full life? You're sad because they're gone, but you're happy because you got to have that experience with them. You got to be loved by them. And so it's a bittersweet, celebratory sending her home to her husband. And I thought the funeral was beautiful today. It was, everyone spoke to her with such rich kindness. And her children, it's funny, I was telling this to Corey, I'm like, I want to make a video, a tribute to her, because she was such a huge, impactful part of my life. And I want to title it, Our Children Will Call Your Name Blessed. And then when her son said that at her funeral today, it hit me right in the heart, because she deserves that. She deserves to be called blessed. She deserves to be called a queen and a matriarch. What were you going to say?
Well, just one of the things that I was, the AUB has been I've associated with a lot of different people from different cultures.
Right.
The FLDS, the Kingstons, I knew a lot of them growing up. And I would say one of the reasons that the AUB was more successful is because I feel like there were more people like her in the AUB, that they kind of welcomed everybody. Everybody was welcomed, where a lot of people would be shunned or asked to leave or excommunicated from these other groups. The AUB tended to open their arms, and that's why I think they grew to the size that they did. They were a very welcoming community for the most part, and there were a lot of people that I think had been part of these stricter groups that they had been shunned, or their family had been shunned. And so it was interesting when I was asked to leave, even I didn't get the shunning. I'm blown away. I didn't get, my family wasn't going to shun me. I was still welcome to come up. Some people shunned, and I think those were more along the lines of the people who were strict or original. But for the most part, the AUB community has been more of a welcoming or open, and that's why they've been able to grow as large as they have, because when people are shunned from other groups, then they can come into the AUB, and they have a lot of people like that, different families like that are very opening and welcoming to everybody, even if they don't know your name. So but somebody at the funeral today knew my name, so that was
poor
amazing.
Corey. He goes and pals around with me. When we're in Montana, though, it's kind of the same thing. I don't know a lot of people from, I mean, I do, because I married two men from Montana. But everyone in the AUB calls him by his brother's name.
Yep.
And I'm like, you should just start wreaking havoc so that he'll just get the blame. But someone today actually said, Corey, oh my gosh, is that you? And Corey was like, oh, somebody knows me. Who knows me here?
Because usually they're calling me by my little brother's name. He's so very social, especially within the AUB group. He knows everybody. He's a very social young man, and so I
Yeah.
usually get called him, and we look very similar. So
Your mannerisms are very
Mhm.
similar. And so yeah, today was
It was a good day.
it
Good,
was it was a
good
little hard to go
family and
into the
friends.
community.
Yeah.
I was a little anxious about it.
I had short sleeves on, so
I did too.
stood out.
But I was a little bit anxious about it because you every time we go in there, there's always some anxiousness about it. You just never know how you're going to be received. And especially with our channel, we just never know
Mhm.
what's going to happen or who's going to be there. All we know is that we can go into this situation with all the love that we possibly can and love the
Mhm.
people that we love. And, I really went in there with knowing the deep appreciation and love that I had for this woman. And that's all I wanted to do was go and love on her children. And who are my friends, who are the people that I grew up with, who are the people that I healed with. And I think that's one of the reasons why I loved her so much is because she, in the darkest time of my life, after trying to choose out, she healed with me. And I really appreciated that. She healed with me without the judgment of, you should be better. You should be doing better. You should be. And I think that's one of the reasons why I loved her so much. And then the fact that she's continued to love me for 30 plus years before she passed, every time I saw her, she was just welcoming and loved me. And we would sit down and talk forever. She'd say, tell me about your children. Tell me how things are going in your life. And yeah, I'm going to miss her and appreciate her so much for what she's done. And so there are a lot of very, very good people in the AUB. And I hate throwing the baby out with the bathwater. This is why I want to make sure that on our channel, we appreciate and love those who show us that affection and show us that kindness, especially, coming out of a cult like this is hard enough. Deconstructing religion is hard enough without the people that you love hurting you and judging you along the way and being angry with you for leaving and being angry with you for talking about it and talking about it publicly. And so Corey did have an experience. I don't know if you want to tell that or not.
Oh, yeah.
Last night.
Shout out to Preston's family. So, yeah.
They're
good people.
I wish I would have had a chance to talk to him.
Yeah.
But one of his family members came up to Corey yesterday and just said, thank you so much for the commentary that you guys do about my brother.
Yep.
And so I really appreciate those who have appreciated.
Thank you for coming and talking to me. That was amazing. So
the next time I see you, please come and talk to me. I see so many old friends and family that poor Corey, he just stands there on the side and waits for me to hug and love on everyone. But yeah, thank you for coming and saying hi. And next time we're in public, make sure to say hi to me because I would really love to meet you and really love to say hi to you. Because Preston family are good people. Preston is a good people.
Love all of his family. All grew up with them, so they're amazing human beings. So
yeah. But this one's been a tough pill to swallow. I'm like, they say that things come in threes. Again, I hope this is the third one and we're done for a while. Life has been kind of adventurous for us for the last little bit. But this one hurts a little bit. And yet I'm so happy for her because she was ready. She was ready to go home. Her husband has passed now. I want to say he passed like well over 15 years ago. And she was ready to go home and meet him. And she was, one of the things that they said at the funeral was, she kept saying, I can't wait for him to welcome me home. And how wonderful it is to know that you have a partner that is going to be welcoming you home. And then how wonderful it is how we should all strive to be that partner for our partners, to know that someone loves us that deeply and to know that we are loved that deeply. So
I knew some of her family. I'm actually I think it's a great granddaughter is
our niece.
My niece. So
yeah.
So yeah, I'm kind of in a way related, probably. But yeah, and she's a wonderful little girl. So gotta
Every time
snuggle on her and hold her.
Oh, she had her little baby there, just the
Mhm.
chunkiest little monkey you've ever seen. And every time we meet somebody, I have to try to connect it with Corey. Like, okay, this is how they're related.
But
And so our niece, yes, is married to the grandson of the woman who passed today.
Yeah.
I
know him, so it was awesome. I met family there, so that was awesome too. Got to see some of my family that I haven't seen for a while. So,
but it always does bring up a lot of emotion to go back to. The funeral was down on one of the communities, one of the religious communities that they have, and there is always some level of anxiety to go. There just is, and there's always some heartache when I see certain people. And there's always, when I was growing up, I've said this in a couple of our other videos. I did take these notes of who do I want to be and how do I want to be? How do I want to love those that I feel like are lost? How do I want to love those that my judgment says they're hurting or they're lost? Do I want to be that person that says, oh, I know who you are? Or do I want to be that person that says, yes, I know who you are and I still love you? Yeah, I've been through it and I know who you are. And when her own two sister wives can get up and say, we loved her dearly, and I guarantee you their lives weren't easy. I guarantee you their marriages weren't smooth. I guarantee you that their relationships as sister wives was probably pretty rocky at points. But at the end of life, for them to be able to get up and say, we loved her and she is an eternal companion, and speak so kindly and so highly of her. And how many people do you think? Over 300 people were there? Maybe over 300 people, maybe more. The building was packed. It was standing room only. The main church building, and then the overflow was packed, and there was standing room only in the overflow. How do I want to love the people around me? How do I want to love my family? Even those who aren't my family, that see me from afar and say, I don't know what kind of person she is, but I felt loved by her. And so that makes me know what kind of, to some degree, what kind of a person she is. So it's been a rough couple of days. This is like the first day we went to the viewing last night, but today is the first day I've put on makeup and gone out of the house in a couple of weeks. So it felt good. But the amount of anxiety that's just always present when we go into these types of communities can get to be a lot. We're gonna be decompressing tonight for sure, but we wanted to make a video in a tribute to how wonderful she was. And truthfully, when you're making those notes to yourself about what kind of person you want to be, again, heal so that you don't bleed over people who didn't cut you. Heal your heart. Find whatever healing modality that you have that works for you. If you are a human with a human body, you have experienced trauma. And when you don't heal some of that trauma, you will leak and you will bleed on people who didn't hurt you. And those people don't deserve that. You don't deserve that. You deserve to be loved. Your family deserves to be loved. So I highly encourage all of you, so that I know for me, I'm working on that so that when my time comes, my children will stand up and say, I love my mom. She was blessed. She was a wonderful queen and a wonderful matriarch. And I feel like that's how this woman was. She emulated everything that I wanted to be growing up. And I'm just so grateful for the opportunity that I had to call her a close friend and to call her and her children friends. Wasn't going to cry. But she is beautiful, and the experience that I got to share with her family today was really beautiful, and I'm just so appreciative. I have so much gratitude in my heart that even though I'm fallen away, or whatever you want to, and I'm apostate, and I'm a Gentile, or whatever you want to call me, I was still welcomed to come in and appreciate and love on a woman who appreciated and loved me so much. And so I'm so grateful for that. So,
and took care of her when she was down. So
I know it was a good
woman. Family. Yeah.
Yep. Very, very wonderful. And so, that was our experience today. We are so appreciative. We thank you all so much for the support and love that you give us on our channel. we really appreciate it. We really do want to talk about the healing aspects of coming out of religion. And there is some hurt and there is some pain, and people are going to be hurt. And we did get some side eyes and we did get some side glances today, and that was tough. But at the same time, we went in there, both of us went in there going, we are here to love those that will let us.
Yep.
And if you're willing to let us love you, we will. And, but we will still speak our truths about what we know to be true. And we do that on this channel as much as humanly possible. We try to speak the truth with as much integrity as we possibly can, because that's the only way that I really want to get our message out, is with as much integrity. And I know it will hurt people. I see the side glances that we get.
Yeah. We've talked about a lot of our frustrations, some of the things, but we are trying to talk about the positive part of growing up. In some of it's not all bad. It's not all good. It's not all bad. And I think that's part of society itself. So
yeah. When you come from such a vast community, there's a lot of ways to be loved by a lot of people. And that's what I was telling Corey. I'm like, there is so many beautiful people here, so many beautiful people that just want to be loved and want to love other people and want to do what they believe is right. And this is another reason why I feel so inclined to try to speak with this as much respect as I can, because these are people who are just trying to do what they believe is right. And, but we still have to expose because abuse does hide in darkness. And so we do have to expose some of that. And it's not always fun, but when we can talk about the beautiful, light, bright side of things, like this woman and the queen that she was, I want to be able to share that side of it too.
And the good kids she raised.
Beautiful family that she raised.
She has. So
yeah.
So yeah. And anybody that was giving me side-eyed down there, I just assumed they were giving it to my little brother. So I just assumed it was him, not me.
Poor guy.
Giving a side-eye.
I know. I was always telling Corey, you really need to take advantage of this. Everyone thinks that you're him. You know, one thing Corey did say to me a while ago, when we first got together, you know, I'm the bad guy in a lot of people's stories.
Yep.
And I thought, what? You're the nicest guy I know. How can you be a bad guy to somebody?
Well, because as you grow up, there are people that, I mean, I was a angry, sad young man, and so I hurt people too. And then I was like, I don't want to be this person, and I completely changed. So that's why everybody, hey, Corey's a nice guy, he's this, but there are some people out there that I've hurt, and I'd like to apologize anytime I can.
Yeah.
Anytime I see them, but I didn't want to be that person. And so it is interesting, because as we run into different people that I'm assuming are going to be frustrated or angry with me the way when they knew me at 19, 20, 21, a rebel, and then they come up and remember my name and are very, oh, it's good to see you again. How's everything going? And so it's blowing my mind too, that people that I would assume think I'm a villain or a bad guy, they've all kind of lived through that too. They've gone through that hard time in their life and realize that we can change and become loving, kind human beings. So
yeah. And we will always be the bad guy in somebody's story. But our message and our hope on this channel is to reach out to people, because there's always time to change that. There's always time to show up differently if you want to. There's always a way to show up and be the good guy, or be the one who loved someone when you didn't know. You know, when she loved me, I was afraid to tell her that I had just tried to choose out of life, because I was afraid that how bad she would judge me. And she didn't. She just held me and let me cry when I was 20 years old and so broken. And didn't have anybody in my life to love me that way. Not anybody matriarchal, not anyone that was nurturing and held me as a mother, or held me as a woman would hold another woman like that. And so I was so grateful for her for that. And that bonded me to her forever. And there's always time to show up differently and be different in someone's story. So what can you do today to show up differently and love your people because they deserve to be loved? So, you know, and we just, it's funny because Corey assumes everybody's watching our channel. I assume no one ever watches our channel. And so I just assumed that they, you know, they all knew me by married to my ex-husband, not to Corey. And so there was some good connection with my ex-husband's family today too. Things that people that I hadn't connected with in years that I loved when I was a part of that family. And so there was some very good connections all the way around today. And we went with an open heart to love the people that deeply. And, I feel like we were very enriched and we were very blessed today. And I just really want to call this woman blessed, the blessed matriarch who was a queen and an example of the kind of person that I would like to be. And so, yeah, it was a good day.
It was a good day.
So thank you guys for all the love that you guys have expressed. I'm on the mend. I'm healing. I know now Corey's going to cry. Yep. It's been an emotional day. I've had my heart on my sleeve for the last couple of days, just really so much gratitude for her. And will I show up that way for other people? Mm-hmm. But yeah, thank you guys. I'm on the mend. I'm doing so much better. This week has been a little bit harder than last week was on me. I got really tired this week, so I've been taking it a little bit slower. But
we're going to be pounding out a lot of videos in the next week, so we're prepared.
We're going to be filming all weekend.
We're coming back strong. So
so we really do appreciate it. And stay tuned. We've got some doozies for you because we did have some other experiences at that funeral today that I don't want to take away from how special this woman was to share on this video. So we will be sharing them on another video that's coming up. We'll be posting here in the next day or two. I got to process through some of it because the prophet of the church really wanted to call me out and make a huge scene at the funeral today. And so
wouldn't let it happen.
I did not allow that to happen. I did not want to disrespect this woman or her name or why we were there. And I wasn't willing to allow the prophet of the polygamous cult to do that to me or to her in her memory. So we will be making another video about that. Thanks, Dad, for giving me content. I appreciate it. So
thanks for watching.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much. We really do appreciate it. And watch for us. We'll be back.
See you guys. Thanks.